and we are doing numerology, constant conjunctions, some Bible, some Quran, some Ifa, some Santaria, some tarot on Pluto to see why Pluto always, that energy always so turned up. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, I had to do this like 35 damn times. So we about to do it right now. Right this moment. I'm getting off the screen, y'all. Deuces. Alright, so let's get into Pluto and what Pluto talking about over here. First off, breaking down the planet numerically. 73326 breaks down to 21, which breaks down to 3, which is in numerology, Jupiter energy. So then you look to see when a planet was discovered. The planet was discovered 2/18/1930 according to Google, right? And so the high number comes to 15 and 6. And then the month is the second month, right? So we got the moon, and then we have the day, 18 and 9, which is Pluto. Then we have the month plus the day, 11 and 2, and the year, 13 and 4, right? So we got the high number that comes in 6, the mid number that comes in 6, and the low number that comes in 6. And the 6 in numerology would be Venus. So you're looking at the Pluto and Venus conjunctions. So first off, now that we down here in the Bible, the Quran, Ifa and Santaria. First off, these verses are in the 13th Surah, okay, which is a rod, which equals thunder, which brought me into Ifa, thinking about Oya and Santaria, thinking about Oya, and then you got Shango in there. Now, these verses are broken down according to the planet number breakdown and the date that it was discovered, numbers broken down. So, in this case, I decided to look more into the Quran, Ifa, and Santaria than the Bible. So the reason why the Bible was up there, the Bible verses, because I was asking myself, was this planet's energy, even though it wasn't visible to man, but was the energy in existence? So I looked at the first chapter because I'm thinking about existence. I'm looking at the first chapter, 8th verse. When I add that together, that's the first 9 that I get in the book of Genesis, right? And then I go to the 9th verse, quite naturally. That's the natural number 9, let's say. You add the chapter and the verse together, you get 10 and 1. So, therefore, that's the sun and Pluto letting me know that, okay, yes, Pluto was there. Period. And so was the sun. The sun still is number 1, and Pluto was there. So when I got to thinking about the Quran, the first verse that came to me, because Pluto is number 9, right, is the 9th surah, which I'm going to get into when I break down the surahs. The verses within the 13th surah. But keep in mind that we are in Arad, thunder, which is what it means. And this is why I associated it again with that. So let's keep it cooking to the first conjunction and so on and so forth, right? All right, so the first one is the moon. I'm going in the order of the numbers so that we don't get confused. So we're going, looking at Pluto and the moon. And so I looked at the verses, the 2nd verse and the 11th verse in the 13th surah. All right, so the 2nd verse, Allah is he who raised the heavens without any pillars that ye can see. All right, it's firmly established on the throne. Is firmly established on the throne of authority. He has subjected the sun and the moon to his Lord. Each one runs its course for a term appointed. He doeth regulate all affairs, explaining the signs and details that ye may believe with certainty in the meeting with your Lord. All right, so first off, we're talking about the signs. Now, the signs can be the signs of the time, the things going on amongst the people, the signs in the field, dealing with farming, and then it could also be the signs within the heavens. So we're going to stay within the heavens because he's all the way down. He regulates. The all regulates. Allah is regulating. And these are subjected. The moon is subjected. The sun is subjected. And so it confirms, yes, the sun is there, the moon is there, so on. And then it still taps into that higher frequency because it's saying, I am the all, period. So now that we got that out the way, we're going to look at 11, the 11th verse, which is also 11 and 2 is a master number, right? The master intuitive, the master spiritual, the ones that tap into the ethers, right? So let's look. For each such person, there are angels. This is confirming higher frequency. You need to be in the higher frequency to interact with these energies, or you need to feel these energies or know these energies exist, right? In succession, before and behind him. They guard him by command of Allah, letting you know that even these energies are controlled by all of those, by the all, right? Even these energies is subject and controlled by the all, the energies that we do not see, including the elements, right? Moving right along. Allah does not change a people's lot unless they change what is in their hearts. Okay, so first off, when farming is involved, it has to be a passion and a love for it, and it's energy put into the earth, period. The more you put into it, the more you're going to get back in your lot. That happens farming, family, life in general, even in the ethers, right? That's just point blank bottom line. So let's finish. All right. But when once Allah willeth a people's punishment, there can be no turning it back, nor will they find beside him any to protect. All right, so even in a lot, if you lose a whole lot, there's no turning back until the next season, period. If you lose in life certain things, there's no turning back. If you lose a particular individual, there's no turning back. If the sun ain't up there and we can't get it back, we got a problem. All of the above. So this still falls into the higher frequencies, spiritually, in the ethers, in a planet, on the earth, and how the people are affected, right? So now, going on to the conjunctions. Let's see if the conjunctions match. So the conjunction is between Pluto and Moon. This is a straight connection between the two, lined up straight. All right, so this talks about emotional dimensions that can or may go through a slow and gradual transformation, which matches Pluto's, and then the emotional dimension matches the Moon, right? Our emotions and spiritual aspects may have some unseen negativity surrounding it, because Pluto can be a rough energy by itself. So you put that together and you might get a little bit of negativity, because we got the Moon, which is water, and we got Pluto, which is primarily ice, which is just another manifestation, a stiff, still, cold manifestation of water. So in numerology, you got partnerships, union, duality, and support. All of these is in consideration. That's between the people on the earth. That's between the energies in the ether, and then that's between the all. The partnership between the all has to be in balance in order to receive these blessings, but you also have to be able to partner amongst each other to farm. You also have to partner amongst each other to build relationships, to work together, and so on, to have a crop that's successful, regardless of whether that's in life, farming, the ethers, or dealing with the all, right? So anyway, we got that one out the way. Now, the tarot card that's associated with that quite naturally is the Moon, right? So that's the unknown emotions, things that things that we may not see clearly. And it also represents the sign of Cancer, which is a water energy. So now that we got that out the way, let's talk about Jupiter. Wait, did I repeat something? I feel like I did. No, I didn't. Let's deal with Jupiter. Now, we're dealing with Jupiter. We went to the third verse in the Quran, and it says, and it is he who spread out the earth and set thereon mountains standing firm and flowing rivers and fruit of every kind. He made in pairs, 2 and 2. He Draweth the night as a veil over the day. Behold, verily, in these things there are signs for those who consider. All right, so first off, he's already taken responsibility for the fact that he spread out the earth, period, and set forth all of these things. And these are all, primarily all of the elements or primary elements. And then we got the day and the night. But he also says, behold, really, in these things there are signs for those who consider, for those who think a little beyond, right? So let's look at the Pluto-Jupiter conjunction. It says, this conjunction speaks of power, influence, determination, persistence, high levels of success, and some ruthlessness. All of these are needed in farming, creating life, creating a universe, creating the energies and the ethers, and so on and so forth. Side note, the pairs, made in pairs are 2 and 2. Now, this is numerology. This is not exact. I'm not saying this is what he's saying, but at the end of the day, we have 2 and 2, which brings you to 4, which is in numerology, moving to 4 confirms the 4th verse, but we didn't get there yet, right? So that's a conjunction. Now, in numerology, Jupiter is what? The communicator, creative expression, and growth. And all of those things is necessary in creating. All of those things are necessary in farming. And all of those things are necessary in life. So in tarot, the major is the wheel. So you got karma, which is spoken about. You have seeing the bigger picture, which is obviously spoken about because it says for those who can see, who can understand, who can consider. And then you have taking responsibility, which he took responsibility in laying out these things, right? And then you have all things are interconnected, which is discussed in there because he spoke of the elements and all of the things that he laid out, letting you know that I laid these things out and now they are all interconnected, whether we like it or not. And then you have change of luck because the wheel can change. If you put in all of necessary things necessary to grow a great crop, then you're going to have a good crop and that's good luck or, a good omen. And if not, then you might, or if the weather is not agreeable, or if you're not cropping during the right season, or if you're not understanding how the system works, then of course you're not going to have a good crop. And so that would be a change of luck in there. Anywho, meanwhile, keep in mind the 13th Sora, if a nice strike of thunder hit your crop, you might not have one, so that wouldn't be good either. So anyway, let's move right along to the fun part in Pluto, which is Pluto and Saturn together. Right? And so this is the 4th and 13th verse in the 13th Surah. Right? And so let's look at 4. 4 says, and in the earth are tracks, diverse though, neighboring, and gardens of vines and fields, sown with corn, and palm trees grown out of the single root of, or otherwise, watered with the same water, yet some of them we make more excellent than others to eat. Behold, really, in these things there are signs for those who understand. Now, when I first seen this verse, I automatically said, okay, we're talking about farming. That's the first thing that came, but of course I divvied off into a whole nother world. Looked at the fact that we have bronchial trees, we have areas of the brain shaped like trees, and so on and so forth. And this, that, and the third, watered by the same waters, and so on and so forth. But we're not going to go there. We're going to go to the conjunction. All right. Oh, let me read you 13 too, just so we can get it out the way. Nay, thunder repeateth his praise, and so do the angels with awe. He flingeth the loud voiced thunderbolts, and therewith he striketh whomsoever he will. Yet these are the men who dare to dispute about Allah with the strength of his power. All right. So first off, this is confirming the title of the Surah, Thunder. Most importantly, man cannot control thunder and lightning. That's controlled by the heavens, and where it lands, man can't control no matter what they got going on. So that confirms the control issue. Okay? So let's get into the conjunction between Pluto and Saturn. All right. We have the conjunction speaks of hard work, determination, patience, and extra responsibilities. Okay. So all of that's spoken about. Now, it takes hard work, determination, and patience to have a crop. And that's, if you're looking at crop in a physical manifestation, in an energetic field, any of the fields, all the way up. Okay. So, in numerology, Saturn is the salt of the earth, process of stabilization. All these things is necessary for farming and in life, and salts are necessary even in the body, right? Let's clear that out. So that made me think, like, what would salt have to do with farming? Because I don't farm. So I found out that in ancient civilizations, salt was used for fertilizer, which I found to be interesting, but they said it was used. So we're going to leave it like that. Now, Saturn rules over time and agriculture. And of course, if you're going to deal with agriculture, you're going to deal with farming, you're going to deal with any of that, then you definitely have to know timing and seasons and so on and so forth. Now, in Tarot, the major is the world. So that's self-actualization, completion, deep connection, accomplishments. The 4 zodiac signs: Aquarius, Leo, Scorpio, and Taurus. And I'm not really sure what all of the cropping seasons are, but what I will tell you is that we got Aquarius and Scorpio in there, which matches Hoya and Shango's story, and Ifa and Santaria. Okay, and then you got the Leo and the Taurus energy, and we got Leo over there. Do we got Taurus? We don't have too much Taurus energy in here, but that will come out over within here somewhere. I didn't really look it up. That's just off the tarot. And then it's projects and preparing to start over. So you know, when you're dealing with farming and cropping, you have a season, it's over, you wait, and you prepare for the next season, and so on and so forth. Accomplished croppers are great. And of course, if you're dealing with the earth on a regular basis, or you're dealing with farming, cropping, or anything that you're into, then a natural deep connection is going to come to it. That's just a natural thing. And of course, you got the self-actualization, and that happens when flowers, plants, or anything grows. Self-actualization, and so we have self-actualization at a certain age, and so on and so forth. So that matches this far with numbers, as far as I'm concerned. Now let's go on to the next one, which is Pluto and Venus, and therefore I looked at the 15th verse, the 6th, the 15th, and the 24th verse. This is not all of the verses in this surah, but this is as far as I went because I'm staying within the numbers that I'm dealing with on the board. Side note. All right, so let's see what 6 says. 6 says, they ask thee to hasten on the evil in preference to the good, yet have come to pass before them many exemplary punishments, but verily thy Lord is full of forgiveness for mankind for their wrongdoings, and verily thy Lord is also strict in punishment. All right, so that's 6. Now, which one? 15. Let's do 15. 15. Whatever begins there are in the heavens and the earth do prostrate themselves to Allah, acknowledging subjection with goodwill or in spite of themselves. So do their shadows in the morning and in the evening. All right, so first off, clearly it's just reconfirming what it said previously, right? That all is subject to the universal energy, to the all energy. All right, and then we say, so do their shadows in the morning and the evening. So first off, if you look at particular times when the sun is going to rise and the sun is going to set, then you're going to be able to see your shadow at certain points of the morning and the evening. And so therefore, if you are at praise, or if you are farming, you're bowed down to the earth, and you are farming, you're going to see your shadow. Even if you in prayer at certain times in the sun, you're going to see your shadow during the rise or the fall of the sun. It's just that simple. So let's move along. So that's letting us know that at a particular time, maybe for this particular thing, farming, because this is really what it's talking about. Outside of all the other levels to it, and that's why I say if you understand, if you consider. All right. So now let's go to 24. Peace unto you, for that ye preserved in patience. Now how excellent is the final home. First off, when you crop certain times and certain things that you crop, and you're going to hold on to them and preserve them. But most importantly, is all patience involved And so there's still going to be blessing regardless, or you're still going to be prosperous, or you're still going to have your crops, and so on and so forth. So now let's see what the conjunction got to say about it. Conjunction for Pluto and Venus. This brings the energy of intense ruler of transformation in the underworld, death, rebirth, into close connection with the goddess of love and beauty. It also speaks of a natural magnetic influence, right? So we got verse 6 where change is asked for. You got verse 15, the influence of Allah is discussed. And then you have verse 24, peace unto you for that ye preserved in patience. Letting you know that patience is necessary throughout this whole process. And even in that, if you're going to say that there's forgiveness, that requires patience. Now that we get into, we got that out the way, we got to go into Pluto itself, which is verse 9 and verse 18, right? So let's do verse 9 and verse 18. All right, so verse 9. He knoweth the unseen and that which is open. He is the great, the most high. All right, so this was the first verse that I went to in the 13th surah. Mind you, I might have to pop back in the comments because I didn't break down Venus all the way for, I think, Terry. But it's okay. We'll break it down in a minute. So anyway, this was the first verse that I came to, and that verse was there, like I told you to begin with, because I wanted to know why we didn't know, and so that verse simply stated we didn't want you to know. Period. So let's go to 18. And so in 18, for those who respond to their Lord are all good things, but those who respond not to him, even if they had all that is in the heavens and on earth, and as much more, in vain would they offer it for ransom. For them will be reckoning for them will the reckoning be terrible. Their abode will be hell. What a bad misery. So this is all, associated. This is good. This is associated with Pluto energy all around. And it's also speaking about magnetism. You put out the energy and I'm going to give back good. You don't put out the energy and you don't get anything back. It's just that simple. It's a regular shenanigans when it comes to energy, period. Now, when you're dealing with Pluto, you're talking about the transformer, selflessness, and compassion and endings, and so that gets a little extra push when it's in Venus and when it's in the moon, right? And then you have in Tarot the major judgment, which it speaks of if you do not pass this energy, if you do not focus this energy, if you do not acknowledge, then of course there's a judgment, which speaks of and that speaks of transformation, renewal, being judged on a higher plane. Because when you're dealing with the majors, and I'm only dealing with the majors for the most part, when you're dealing with the majors, you're not dealing with the physical aspects of reality of life or the physical aspects of manifestations. You're dealing with the spiritual or etheric or unseen aspects, period. All right, so 11 and 2. Now, of course, we did the moon, but so I'm doing 11 and 2 as a master number by itself. In numerology, the 11 and 2, that's the master intuitive, spiritually tapped in. And so I go to the tarot and just look at the 11th, and you got the major is justice. I'm not saying that this, because you can also use the high priestess if you want to deal with highly intuitive, but I'm going based off the numbers so there's no confusion. Okay, so look at the 11th major and it's justice, balance, law, order, rules and regulations. If you put this with the high priestess, then that's what you got in the spiritual realm and the non-seen realm. These are the things that's necessary in the physical realm and in the unseen realm, period. But just so y'all know, usually I would associate the 11 and 2 with the high priestess anyway. So let's move on to the next one. I think we got all of them out the way. We did. So now we know that the numbers is coinciding with what's going on in the Quran, and we see that it's dealing with coinciding with the Quran, Ifa, and so on and so forth. So now we're going to talk about Ifa and Oya and Shango real fast. Now, in Ifa, you have, well, first off, let me get through the zodiac with Oya, okay? Oya is associated with Scorpio. That's the one. Scorpio is the water sign. The other ruling planet, so in the Scorpio, the two ruling planets is Pluto and Mars, right? Which is going to make sense. So Mars also rules in Scorpio, which is a fire energy. Oya is associated with a river, fresh water. I would say fresh water. Pluto, which is the planet, cold temperatures, primarily icy with water below the surface from what I learned. And then you have Oya dealing with thunder and lightning and wind. Okay, so, and then you have Shango also dealing with it. And then you have the fact that they say Oya, was the bestie, or not the bestie, but one of his wives and one of his favorite wives, and they dealt with war together. They dealt with thunder and lightning together, and the lightning represented the fire. So this is in both stories, even though in Santaria, the way I learned the story was that Oya stole the thunder out of a pot from Shango, and so on and so forth. Mind you, Shango is in Aquarius, and Aquarius came up in the world card as one of the zodiacs. So therefore, it all matches, no matter how we choose to cut the cake, right? So when you look at this in the tarot right here, because I don't have to stay that far in it, pay attention to the elements though. You got wind, fire, fresh water, and thunder, and then you got Pluto, which is a cold, icy environment with water below it. I asked the question if it would be fresh water. In my mind, they so accurate with it across the board. I would say that whether science figured it out or not, it probably is some fresh water up there. Anyway, moving right along. So in tarot, the major for the two planets is judgment in the tower, which makes sense. Pluto does bring judgment, and in these verses is a discussion of if you do not, then there will be judgment, or a tipping of judgment. There will be judgment, and if you do not, all hell will break loose. If you do not crop properly according to this, you won't yield. If you don't do this properly, you won't yield. If you don't give or pay homage to this energy, or to all, or Allah, or so forth, you will not yield. It's just that simple. It's saying that. Now, when you look at the minors, you're looking at the 5 cups. So it's letting you know that, yeah, it could get real. It could get wicked. It can be lost. It can be confusion. People can be confused. Mind you, the 7 cups, depending on the tarot, I don't remember the name of the deck, but there's a deck that has certain symbols in it. If you look at this, and even in the 6 of Cups, when you're dealing with the 6 cups, right? A little bit of a little celebratory to a degree. When you're dealing, this is again verifying the water energy, but most importantly is verifying that there's options, choices that have to be considered no matter how you deal with the situation. It's letting you know that it can be lost and all kinds of hell can break loose if these laws or rules are not abided by from all the way up to all the way down. So therefore, it still verifies that as above and so below rules in reality, whether it's farming or not. Now, the reason why I'm using farming is because when you get into Saturn, it's a discussion mostly of farming and agriculture and so on and so forth. So therefore, that lets you know that there's a discussion of farming, but most importantly is letting you know that if you understand this, if you understand cropping, if you understand farming, if you understand the signs, if you understand the planet, if you understand the sun's rising and settings and the moon's rising and settings and how they move, then you're going to yield properly. And if you know how to do that, then you'll be able to do that in your everyday life. And if you know how to do that, then you can do that in your mental life. And if you can do it there, then you can do it in your spiritual life. So it still follows the as above, so below rules and regulations and laws. So when you think about how that conversation goes, it's like he's saying, like, listen, I don't know how to kick it to y'all no other way. So listen, right now we're gonna use farming because y'all know how to do farming, y'all know how to plant, you know how to crop. So we're gonna use that. And those who have ears to hear and eyes to see can see this on multiple dimensions and multiple levels and apply it in multiple ways. Not saying that there won't be any friction involved, because clearly Pluto says it can be friction, it can get real, there can be judgment, there can be disaster, there can be tear downs and uncontrolled tear downs that have to be rebuilt. And even if you're looking in the card of the Tower, it always shows you the thunderbolt anyway. So that was the adventure that I went on with Pluto. And so I will talk to you later because I made it through it. I may have missed one area, but I'll throw it in the comments because I'm not doing it again. It is me, NBT Sky. You already know. Deuces.